Hey everyone, this is Brijesh. I'm the co-founder of Segwise. I'm here to present to you the winning patterns report that we made and presented at PGC this year. This is a super useful report for any game developer in the puzzle, strategy, or simulation categories. We have analyzed over 500 ads to sort of arrive at this report, and we have tried to make it as actionable as possible, where you will be able to find things that you can immediately copy and sort of add to your creative strategy and see better results, hopefully. So let's just get into it. Uh, like I said, the agenda of this was to ensure that you make high impact creatives. A bit about me. I've largely worked in the UA space myself. I've built app install advertising products at ad networks like InMobi, and I've been leading UA at a couple of apps before this. Segwise is basically building AI agents to help you with UA. Specifically, if you're in mobile games, then we have a bunch of offerings that you might find useful. Two of them are highlighted here. One is a creative analytics product, which is the tech that we've used to generate this report also, where we can look at ad creatives, understand each components and how they're correlating with performance. And we have an AI monitoring product, which consumes your MMP data and then tells you on a daily basis which campaigns and which ad groups and creatives need your attention. So super useful products both, but yeah, let's get into the report now. So how did we arrive at this, right? So what's the methodology for coming out with these suggestions on what you should be doing on your ad creatives? We basically took the two most downloaded categories and the highest revenue generating categories. So we have puzzle, simulation, and strategy. And we took the top games in each of these categories. And by top games, we had a balanced representation of games that in general were like the top in that category, but also games that launched in that year, 2024, and ended up being one of the most downloaded games of that year. So we had a balanced representation of all-time top games and also new games that shipped that year. And we took almost 10 to 15 ads of each game, the top ads based on ad spend, and then we generated 8,000 plus tags or creative components within these ads to sort of analyze and find any patterns and what's common among all of these ads that are doing really, really well. So here is a basic anatomy of how we sort of went about tagging it. So we look at the type of creative, like what format is it, playable, video, hybrid, etc. What's happening in the hook, what's happening in the body of the ad, and what's happening in the end, right? So, and you'll see insights on all of these going forward. Yeah, so this is the whole point of why we are doing this. We believe that creative strategy should come out of data and it should not be something that you have to guess. Our AI analytics, creative analytics product helps you do that with your own creatives, but we thought we could use the same tag on publicly available creative data sets and create a report that's useful to everyone to sort of make better creatives. So let's dive into puzzle first. Uh, Imagine this, right? So 82% of gameplay puzzle ads had a gameplay highlighted in them. So this is by large the biggest sort of trend within this category. Like if you're a puzzle game, you have to ensure that a bunch of your ads highlight the gameplay because that's how people sort of understand whether they like this game or not. But within that, look at what's happening inside, right? So within the gameplay, we had a large percentage of creatives use a combination of actual gameplay and animated gameplay. So when we say animated gameplay, it's basically gameplay that is not true to self. It's a little bit sort of overdone, like it's created outside of the game and sort of, but it's a good representation of the actual gameplay, but it's not the actual gameplay that's being shown. In terms of combinations of ad types, uh, showing both an animated version of the gameplay and the actual gameplay turned out to be like the biggest sort of combination. So if you're doing ads for puzzle games, then you need to create assets which have both lead in with like an animated version of your gameplay and then actually show the gameplay as well. As you can see, UGC ads are not something that were used quite a bit among the top ads last year, but we think that it's something that is an alpha. And if you're in the puzzle category, you should experiment with UGC this year and see if it's sort of something that gives you some sort of an edge over your competition. 51% of ads in the puzzle category had a hook text, but let's look at what was happening in that hook test, right? So as you can see, like the large majority of hook text that was used was instructional or challenging. I think the challenging part and the urgency part and the fail part are the ones that I think you should focus on. Like making something in a fashion that makes the user feel like, hey, you can't do this is something that we saw as a trend that was really popular. And we think it'll work this year as well. Even the ones that are driving urgency that, hey, you have like, please save this character quickly, or you cannot do this, like, indicating that you're too stupid to do this. All of these are interesting hook text that we found as patterns in a decent chunk of these ads. So I think you should definitely try this out, and we're showing you some examples of this on the right side as well. But yeah, these are the kind of ads that you should be looking into if you're in the puzzle category, specifically when it comes to hook scene text. 40% of character ads had characters in them. But the interesting part here is that among these characters, almost 70% of them were shown to be in some amount of distress, right? So this is extreme classic sort of making the user feel like they can come in and save the hero characters that you're showing in your ad. The most famous one, of course, is saving the king. There's also like fun stuff that we saw in other games where uh, a character is sort of in a very tight situation, and you have to sort of solve the puzzle to sort of make sure that the character doesn't go through distress. So I think these are, again, great emotional hooks that you should use. And if you're showing A, you should show a character, and B, if you're showing a character, you should probably show them in some state of distress so that the user feels that they can step in and help that character. 36% of ads used playables. This is actually something that we think will sort of shoot up. Standalone playables, of course, was much lesser than playables that come after a lead-in video. But I think this is a trend that we expect to go up in 2025. A lot more playables should happen. So you should invest in workflows and tools that help you generate more playables. 27% of ads have this one unique element. If you can guess it on the slide, I'll pause. But yeah, it was this, right? So IQ meters and countdowns were like super common in puzzle categories. So if you're running a puzzle ad, these are two elements that have a proven track record, and you should outright copy them. Ensure that a majority of your ads have these elements. At least you test it out and see if it works for you. But this is something that has shown up in data as one of those things that a lot of successful ads did last year, and we think that it'll continue this year as well. Yeah, so the other interesting bit that we saw in puzzle games was that a decent chunk of games use the creative to show that there's a lot more levels to this game. So indicating depth of gameplay is something that like we think is a very sort of high correlation to like ads doing well. We saw it in almost 1/3 of the ads that did really well in this category. So this is something that you should try out as well, where at some part, usually in the end, you can sort of indicate that, hey, look, I have so many levels to my game, indicate it in some way or the other. As you can see in this example, they're showing you like different types of levels that you will end up playing. You can do it in your own fun way, but indicating depth is something that you should definitely look into. Okay, let's move on to strategy. Let's see what's happening here. 80% of all ads here were, again, had some amount of gameplay shown. Let's look into how it was split. Here again, as you can see, like animated plus actual gameplay combination is the one that did really well here as well. So again, it's a great indicator that don't just like stick your actual gameplay in the ad. Make an animated version which is slightly heightened and combine that with actual gameplay so that the user doesn't come in with like bad expectations. But yeah, to hook them, showing a version of the game which is slightly an animated version of the gameplay is something that you should definitely try. 70% of ads here had a character, and again here, like a bunch of them, almost 1/3 or more, were in distress. Very few of them, very few other sort of trends in this. So if you're building in this category and if you're using ads within the gameplay, show the characters in distressed scenarios so that the user feels like they need to step in to sort of fix that issue. This is the other interesting part, like 46% of these games had a horde-based or survival-based mechanic in their ads, even though it may not be the actual mechanic that's being used in the game. So as you can see, these are the top mechanics used in strategy game ads, at least the successful game ads that we analyzed. So Horde or survival was like the top category, followed by like base building. But yeah, like your ad mechanic need not be like an exact representation of your gameplay. So it's okay to be a little bit flexible when it comes to this. And if you're doing it, then you might as well sort of pick the mechanic that is showing signs of doing really well for your ads. As combinations, this is like even more interesting. Like you can combine a bunch of mechanics together. And if you're doing that, the two top combinations are Horde and Defense and Horde and Gate Runner. So again, you could choose to do only single mechanic, but if you're doing combination, these are the top combinations that we found in the ads that we analyzed. So yeah, this is more information on like what combinations that we spotted. But here's another interesting fact, right? So 22% of all ads used a voiceover, but what voiceover was this, right? So most of it was some sort of a storytelling or a narrative, or the other half was game explainers, right? So strategy games typically tend to need some sort of a assist on like how does this game actually work. So that was like half of the voiceovers that were used, but the other half is what we think is interesting, where you're setting up, forget the gameplay, you're just setting up the story of what's happening. What is the character sort of, why is this character even trying to do what they're trying to do? So I think that's something that you should definitely experiment with, where you set up like the background, the goal, etc., and the entire story sort of set up in the ad. So that's what I think will hook people. But if it's a super complicated game and if you're leading into a playable after that, you might have to spend some time explaining how to play the game also. Yeah, only 13% of the top ads used playables, which again, we think is an alpha that will go up this year. So if you're preparing to launch games in this category, we would say like you should definitely invest in technology that allows you to make more playables. But within playables, again, lead-in videos are very popular. Most of them have a guiding element, have hook text that were instructional. The most interesting bit about playables, though, is how it ends, right? So most ads tend to sort of make you play the game, and when you're at the thick of it, they end the game and directly take you to the Play Store. So this is a mechanic that works really well because the user really gets into it and they really want to keep playing. And at that point, you can sort of chuck them into the Play Store or App Store and they'll have the highest intent to sort of download your game. So this is a mechanic that was used by almost half the ads or more than half of the ads that we analyzed. So this is something that you should definitely copy. So yeah, in short, like use guiding elements, create hooks in text that like can be intriguing, end abruptly, as I said, to ensure that you get a lot of installs through your playable ads. This is another interesting fact. 42% of ads had a very unique element again. Like again, you can guess what they are. Fail scenarios were like super popular. Progress bars were like again super popular. And again, game depth, right? So showing that you have like a bunch of levels that the user can play is again super useful. So these are some trends that you should definitely copy. Like all of them will, we feel it'll just get better in 2025. So these were like some emerging trends that we saw, but I think these are trends that will grow this year. Okay, the last one, simulation, right? So again, 80% used gameplay, and as you can guess, like a bunch of them had a combination of animated and also like the actual gameplay. Almost 60% had hybrid creatives. Like again, like it's usually a combination of animation and gameplay that works. So don't just stick to showing your actual gameplay, add some amount of animated version of that gameplay to lead into the actual gameplay. Uh, Almost half the ads had a hook text, but let's look at what it was. Because it's a simulation game, like a lot more games tended to have like instructions as to how to play the game, what you have to do, etc. We think that using challenging texts and things that sort of make the user feel like they should sort of come in and play the game is something that will work as well. So yeah, these are two emerging trends, like making the hook text challenging and making it some sort of an admiration kind of text is something that I think will work this year. So you should try that. But yeah, most games ended up using instructional sort of hook text. Only again 30% were playable. Again, we think it'll go up. Appeared along with the video ad. I think again most playables follow a lead-in video, and again most playables end abruptly, right? So that's the biggest sort of takeaway around playables. And just like how playables end abruptly, we're also sort of ending this sort of insight report. If you want to do things like this on your own, creatives, check out segwise.ai. We help you sort of automate the process of detecting what elements in your creative. It could be things like, hey, what characters work for me, what elements work for me, what hook text, what hook CTAs, all of that stuff. How are they correlating with creative performance? That is something that we automate for you. And if you're interested in that, just go to segwise.ai and sign up, and we will reach out to you. Thank you so much again for the Indie Hero community. Like, we're super happy to be partnering with you all, and hope to see a bunch of you sort of sign up on the website and come become partners with us and make creators better. Thanks again. See you again next